In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the current conditions, diving into the upcoming stormy pattern, as well as some severe weather. Let's just get straight into things though, and first things first, we're taking a look at our current radar imagery. And as you can see, there is quite a bit of storminess happening here across, first off, the western United States. We have plenty of storminess around for a lot of those areas. We can also see that there is a bit of a front here moving through, bringing storminess around this region in here, just like this. And then also still for the Gulf, just like always in offshore of the southeast, we have some storminess going on. So there is going to be a lot to go over here. Let's just take a look first things first at the Pacific Northwest, where we do have just some storminess up here in Washington that's been taking place. And this is actually light for the most part. There is some more moderate to even heavy pockets in there, so you're going to want to be on the lookout for that if you do live in this region. We also have recently had a severe thunderstorm here in Montana. As you can see, very far northern Montana there, bringing severe thunderstorm warnings with it. Really exploded there, probably bringing large hail to whoever does live right there that I just underlined. I mean, that is a pretty isolated region, but basically there's some thunderstorms happening in this region that we need to watch closely. Surrounding that area, there is just some showers around for all of these areas in here, mostly just lighter. I'm seeing some yellows in there, but hardly any, so yeah, mostly just lighter showers for the most part. Once we move down to the southwest, we can see that there is a lot of showers and thunderstorms around. Showers for these areas mostly, and then I think this area might be thunderstorms, if not very heavy showers. But to me, it looks like it could potentially be thunderstorms. I mean, we could zoom in here. And, I mean, it is starting to look more like oranges and reds, so I would not be surprised if it is really thunderstorms at this point, heading towards Las Vegas, which would be quite an interesting setup. A bit of a showery morning here for Los Angeles, and I mean, especially offshore there. As we can see, there's a heavier pocket of storms out there over the ocean and heading over some of these islands out here. So it could be a rainy day for Los Angeles, at least this morning. Now, let's take a look here at the upper Midwest, because there is also some thunderstorms up here that are looking quite nasty as well, especially there in Minnesota, Wisconsin, and North Dakota, but especially here actually over northern Minnesota, where we see a severe thunderstorm roll through from Canada. So we're having some very far northern thunderstorms today so far. As we work our way further south, we can see that there is just the bottom of this cold front area that's rolling through. It's hardly a cold front. It's not going to cool down that much, but it does look like a frontal boundary to me. We do see that there is thunderstorms along this, even a severe thunderstorm that was rolling through Arkansas a little bit earlier this morning near Hot Springs. And we can see that there's a lot more consistency here the further east you go. So in this area, it's a lot more consistent. In this area, it's a lot more scattered about, something like this, where you could hit it or you could miss it. But over here, you're not going to miss this. You're going to see rainfall with that pocket. It's a lot more consistent than the areas further west. We can also see that if you move a little bit further south, there is these isolated Gulf thunderstorms that are making their way onshore to a few different areas, but throughout the day, it's going to be pretty much everywhere at risk of this. But we see that there is just thunderstorms heading onshore to mostly the panhandle of Florida and central Louisiana. But really, I would say that there's a good chance that areas in here, for the most part, are going to have a really decent chance of seeing isolated thunderstorms throughout the day today with this pocket of just isolated thunderstorms that we're seeing here. And if you don't get these, you could get this cold front rolling further south eventually. So it could be a bit of a 1-2 punch for some spots. As we move our way further up north, up this cold front area, we can see that there is also some thunderstorms over here for Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia. We're seeing this. And just north of the Kentucky border is where I say it looks a lot less like thunderstorms. So this is where I'm going to just say it's probably switching from mostly thunderstorms to showers. South of this area, it looks a lot like thunderstorms down the line to me for the most part. But north of here, it is mostly heavier showers in the yellows and oranges. And there is some pockets of greens, very large pockets of greens. And especially up here in the northeast, we tell this is just a whole lot of showery activity going on up here in the northeast, in mid-Atlantic, and this is kind of spreading this way. So New England probably going to be seeing rainfall. This is an area that's dealing with a serious drought, like I mentioned yesterday, and I'm really happy to see you guys getting some rainfall finally. Hopefully that relieves that drought for you guys quite nicely. Now, we also see that these thunderstorms are working their way, not thunderstorms necessarily, but showers and thunderstorms, I would say, are working their way up the East Coast as well. And the Carolinas are seeing some impacts from this. This is kind of a common occurrence here. The Carolinas, they stick out considerably compared to the rest of the East Coast. So oftentimes this is why they see a lot of rainfall here when other areas don't, because, the rest of the coast is about like this. But this pocket in Carolina sticks out pretty far. We also see a similar characteristic here for kind of Long Island and Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. This is why a lot of times they see some storminess as well when other inland areas do not. But it's kind of funny in this instance, it's the opposite actually, where these areas west of this line are seeing actually rainfall, and this area is staying high and dry. So what we're going to do here is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at the upcoming pattern as well as the upcoming severe weather. Now here we are taking a look at the upcoming pattern. Let's just move this towards this afternoon, and we can see that this area in the east is going to expand with some storminess from Florida all the way up through New England. We're going to see storminess throughout the day today. Also the Northwest still seeing a lot of their storminess continuing on through this afternoon. As we move towards tomorrow afternoon, we can see that for the east there is some activity, but in between there's some drier pockets. But we do see a lot of storminess there for the southeast as well as the far northeast. And then for the upper Midwest, we're seeing a storm system here as well, a 994 millibar low pressure center over Minnesota there. And that is leading towards a lot of storminess in between and just around those areas there. As we move towards Wednesday, July 20th here, we see the southeast still dealing with some showery activity, as well as the kind of Great Lakes region here, where we have a 991 millibar low pressure center up there in Canada. Let's keep on going with this. Thursday, this reaches the East Coast, and we end up seeing quite a bit of storminess here all the way from the southeast up and down the East Coast all the way up to New England again. Let's just take this towards Friday. This is going to be the 22nd. We see that for the deeper south, there is some storminess, but overall for areas further north in the southeast, there's not quite as much activity. And also for the northeast, we're seeing a little bit less activity by this point as well as we're approaching the weekend. Let's see, by Saturday, we can see that around this area in here in general, I know it's a pretty big area, we are seeing some scattered about activity, especially there in the upper Midwest, but around all of these areas there is some scattered activity in there. And then for the southeast, there is some isolated thunderstorm activity potentially happening in there, but a little bit quieter obviously as we're approaching the end of the pattern. As you can tell, we have a low coming through the Great Lakes, and this leads towards quite a bit of storminess here by Sunday, July 24th. Again, there is some isolated activity down here, but not a lot. We just do see for the Rockies and the Four Corner States, there's some as well. By Monday, this is going to be the 25th, we see that there's a storm system here, and then we end up seeing an area of storminess spreading from Nebraska and Kansas all the way through into the mid-Atlantic and then the northeast. This is leading towards, again, scattered activity along this line here. Could be a bit of a cold front there developing. I know some colder areas expected towards the end of the pattern, so we'll take a look at that in a little bit. Could be a cold front, like I mentioned. By Tuesday, this is definitely looking like a cold front here. We have not scattered, but widespread activity along this line here where we see this dark green area. Could be some pretty strong thunderstorms there. Tuesday the 26th. Wednesday the 27th, it moves further south into the deeper south and southeast as a whole. We're seeing a ton of activity down there by that point. Now for the total precipitation through the next 10 days, there's no surprise that the eastern United States and the upper Midwest sees quite a bit here. And then a lot of other areas are left high and dry. If you're anywhere in the whites, we're expecting practically no precipitation. Your grays will be about 1/10 of an inch or less of precipitation. Your greens will be 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 an inch. Your blues will be 1/2 an inch to an inch. Your yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. Your reds will be 2 to 5 inches. And then your browns will be 5 to 10 inches of precipitation over the next 10 days. So those reds and those browns are particularly high amounts of precipitation. Really, anywhere in the reds will be above average precipitation over the next 10 days. Most areas average a few inches per month, so to see more than a few inches per 10-day period is like 3 times more than you're used to seeing for most areas. I don't know for like southern Louisiana and really those Gulf states, it might be a little bit higher, your average precipitation. But as far as areas further north, That's definitely going to be an above average amount over the next 10 days, which makes up for a lot of those drought conditions that we saw in New England and in the Northeast. Hopefully, we start to go in the right direction with that. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at the upcoming temperature pattern. Now, here we are taking a look at it. Here's the day one temperature outlook, and as you can see, we have below normal temperatures here for the Northwest. Overall, below normal temperatures for the Southeast. There is some scattered areas of warmth, cold, even some warmth here in the Northeast. It's going to be very neutral, though, within a couple of degrees of your average temperature here in those lighter colors. We have a lot of heat in between here in these darker reds as well, expected for today. Now, for tomorrow on July 19th, it's going to be Tuesday. We can see that there is some cooler temperatures still for portions of the West, but really it's going to be warm here for the Southwest, and then especially here for the plains, obviously. And then we again have pretty neutral temperatures here in the eastern part of the country. Now for Wednesday, July 20th, we see heat almost from coast to coast here, a bit of a warm pattern that begins to develop here by this point. Thursday, same story, heat basically from coast to coast here, as you can see, not much to speak on, just very hot in general. Friday, the 22nd, it's a lot of the same outside of the Northwest, where we do start to get some cooler temperatures here for Washington, Oregon, and Northern California there, but for the most part, a lot warmer than normal for most of the country. Here for day 5, which will be July 23rd, Saturday, we see that the east and the central and most of the western United States are still above average. But again, California, Washington, and Oregon, we are seeing a little bit of some below normal temperatures there for the coastline. Now, Sunday, July 24th, we begin to get a serious heat wave actually that develops here for not only the plains, but into the eastern United States. I know here in Virginia, we expect 90s through at least the next 10 days, which is almost unheard of type heat for this area. Usually we're seeing mostly 80s, but 90s for about 10 straight days, which is going to be absolutely insane if we actually end up seeing that. That would be a pretty long streak of 90s. Here by July 25th, which will be Monday, we see a lot of heat up here for the Northwest actually, and then also for the southern plains with some pretty neutral temperatures in between these areas. So up the West Coast, down through the Southwest, up back into the upper Midwest, in through the Ohio Valley and Great Lakes, into the Northeast. We're within 5 degrees of your normal temperature. It's mostly these two red areas where we're about 10 degrees above normal. That's going to be your two areas that are really differing from their average. By the time we're reaching Tuesday the 26th, something interesting happens. We see cooler temperatures here for the eastern United States, considerably colder temperatures actually, above 5 degrees below normal. So we're taking a look at about 5 to 10 degrees below normal there in that region. So it'll be a nice cool down after this big heat wave hits. And for the most part, the West, outside of a couple of areas here, as you can see, there's a couple of areas of blue in there. We're for the most part dealing with a very, very intense area of heat for the West, actually. Now, for Wednesday, July 27th here, we see, again, cooler temperatures for the East. And then we see, again, a lot of heat out west. So that seems to be the trend in the longer range. We'll see if that sticks. That is obviously, again, longer range. So we'll take it with a grain of salt. But we are going to track this daily. So tune in with us daily as we continue to track these things. And hopefully soon we'll have more to talk about. It's been mostly just temperatures and fairly typical storminess, although for the East it's going to be very intense. But outside of there, it's been very, very quiet. And hopefully we'll see some things pick up with some storminess for some folks. I know there's a lot of droughts going on, but we're going to continue to watch it daily with you guys. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and take a look at the severe weather outlook. Now, here's the day one categorical outlook here for Monday, July 18th. And as you can see, we have 2 general thunderstorm risk areas in the lighter greens. That's where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible. So heat every watch, warning, and advisory. The 3 darker green regions there, we have 1 for the upper Midwest, 1 for the mid-Atlantic and Northeast, and then 1 down there for the deeper South. That is where we expect isolated severe weather to occur throughout the day today. The yellow region up there for the north-central United States is going to be your slight risk area where we expect scattered severe weather to occur. And then we even have a little orange area there in Montana and North Dakota where we have an enhanced risk. That's where we expect more widespread severe weather to be possible up there. So we're going to watch that really closely there today throughout the day. No surprise there either because we've seen those severe thunderstorms that we saw in the current radar imagery. So they're already around out there, and they do expect to pick up a little bit more later on today. Now for day 2 here, Tuesday, July 19th, we have 4 general thunderstorm risk areas, one for the southeast, one for the southwest, one for the north central United States, and then one for the northeast. Again, that's all the areas where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible, so continue to heed every watch, warning, and advisory. We have 3 darker green regions there, one for Colorado, one for the upper Midwest and Great Lakes, and then one for the Northeast. That is where we expect the isolated severe weather to occur. And then up there in the north central United States, we also have that slight risk at severe weather for North Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Michigan. And that's where we expect scattered severe weather to occur. Now, for day 3 here, we have one very large general thunderstorm risk area where we expect general thunderstorms, but continue to heed every watch, warning, and advisory. And then the darker green region there for the Ohio Valley and interior eastern United States is what I would call it. That's where we have a marginal risk area where we expect isolated severe weather to occur. And you can see we do have that yellow region there for Kentucky, West Virginia, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. And that is where we expect scattered severe weather to occur in there in that slight risk region. We have one extended day outlook here for day 4. And believe it or not, it's actually for Thursday, July 21st here. And it's a slight risk area over New England that we expect to take place there. Pretty interesting. I was actually surprised when I saw this, so it's going to be interesting to see how this pans out. But we expect at least a slight risk of severe weather there for all the New England states and a little bit of New York as well. So that's a little bit long range. We'll know a little bit more tomorrow, so stay tuned with us. For today's confidence tab, we're at a 4 out of 6 again. I don't really need to say anything about it, I don't think. So for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Larry Pan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I want also to thank our Diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Kudalesa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas, Garys, and John Khaleesi also. I'd also to thank our channel members, Catbite, Steam Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.